Good morning, dolls, and welcome to Little Gretchen's workshop. So today I figured I would show you how to make a few boxes. I'll definitely need some for the dress shop. So let me go ahead and show you one of the ways that I make them. Now, I had a little lipstick box, a box that a tube of lipstick came in, and I thought it was the perfect size to put in some of those little cubbies inside the shelf in the dress shop. So I cut the lipstick box 3 times and I ended up with 3 little cubes. And I actually put some cardstock at the bottom of the cubes. Now, the technique for these boxes and the box lids are very similar to the technique that I used when I made the hats and the hat boxes for the sewing room or dress shop. I will leave a link in the description for those 2 videos. Now, again, dolls, I don't do a lot of measuring. All I did was shape the little piece of the paper around the outside of the little lipstick tube box, and then I closed it up and glued it together with some fabric tack. And then when I sealed them together around the bottom, I actually used my Gorilla wood glue so that it would help harden the paper and make a firmer, more durable lid. After it dried, I trimmed off the excess and then tried to fit it around the top of the little box that I had created with the lipstick box. I think these little boxes are turning out to look really cute. Now, after I got the general shape for these boxes, I did take quite a bit of time trimming off any excess and making sure I cleaned up the glue. I didn't have to be really concerned because I'm going to cover these boxes and lids to give them all more of a uniform look, because the red and the white is not the look that I'm really going for. Plus, the lipstick box has print on it from its original design, so I have to make sure that that's all covered. Now, just after I completed the 3 little boxes, I sat them aside and chose a wallpaper that I wanted to use to cover them. So I actually am using the wallpaper that I used for the back hallway of the rooming house, and I thought it was a nice, neutral, kind of simple print. And although I do really like it for a wallpaper, I think it'll look nice on the outside of these boxes. Now, dolls, you can always save wallpaper you don't particularly like, or you don't particularly like it as wallpaper, to use it for projects like this. And also always save your scraps for small projects like this as well. Now, I coated the outside of the box with my fabric tack glue. Now, dolls, if you notice, that is a Elmer's glue lid on the top of my fabric tack. And I got a wonderful tip from one of you precious dolls suggesting that I swap out the lid that comes on my fabric tack and use an Elmer's glue lid, where I can control the flow of the glue a lot better than to allow big globs to come out with the original lid. Thank you so much for that wonderful suggestion, because it's working well for me. Now, dolls, when it comes to covering the little boxes, I don't have a magical technique. I just basically wrap the box with the wallpaper and allow it to dry. Now, when it dries on the 4 sides, I do trim it, and I try not to overlap the layer of wallpaper because it'll make the box bigger and it will make the lid I created hard to fit. Always keep in mind when you're creating something like this, dolls, that centimeters count. And after that first layer was dry, I trimmed off the excess at the top and the bottom of the little box so that everything will be flush and neat, so I could cover the actual base of the box with the same paper, so none of the red from the original box color is showing. Now, you will have to take your time, and even though this is a very simple project, it is a little tedious, so it will take you some time. Dolls, don't try to rush through your projects just to get to the finish line. Take your time, enjoy the process, so that when you're done, you'll have something you're really proud to display in your miniature scene. Now, I'm struggling here because I've gotten quite a bit of glue on the blades of my scissors. Dolls, definitely try not to cut things while your glue is still wet. It can really dull your blades and distort your cuts. I will need to wipe them down with a baby wipe to get some of the glue off, but it's best practice, just don't cut things while your glue is wet. You may need to use a little alcohol as well. Now, although I've been using the fabric tack throughout most of this project, I did use the Gorilla Wood glue here because I really wanted to seal the bottom of this box, and I wanted to make it a little bit firmer than the actual lipstick box. And I'm just using a scrap piece of paper to make sure I get the glue over to all the corners So I have a really tight seal and you won't see any of that red from the original box. Now I just added an oversized piece of the paper to the bottom of my box and pressed it down. And I'm going to allow that to dry nice and flat. And I did that to all of the boxes and allowed them to dry. Now I did pinch that little corner of that one to make sure that it laid flush against the side of the box. I did a little overlap there. I hope it doesn't distort my box. And again, here you see me using the exact same technique to wrap the paper around the outside of the lid. And when the bottoms of those lids and the bottoms of the boxes are dry, trim them off the exact same way. Get as close as you can to the edge so it'll look really neat and flush. Now, dolls, after I got my little gift boxes completed, I did something similar that I did to the hat boxes. I cut out the little roses from the wallpaper that I had that I used during the hat box video. And again, if you haven't seen that video, I will leave a link in the description. I cut out the little roses, added a little Gorilla Wood glue, and I just placed it on top of the little box, and I thought that made it really cute and gave the impression that those little roses are some type of logo. And I'm doing this, dolls, because I want you to see that even if you don't have a printer, even if you can't print out labels and things like that, you can use the things you already have using images from your wallpaper, picture cutouts, things from magazines, anything you can find to create. Don't ever be limited by supplies or even tools because necessity is the mother of invention. Now you see these little boxes, they aren't perfect, they aren't even absolutely uniform, but I still think they'll look really cute in the dress shop. And this little wallpaper design is going to make it look perfect because I really do think it looks like a little logo. So in the midst of making the boxes, I realized that one of the lids did not fit properly. So I had to create an additional lid. So I'm just showing you here that I just directly used the wallpaper and I cut it into a box shape and I split the sides so that I will be able to fold them over and on top of each other to create a box shape. Now the piece of paper that I'm using was a little bit bigger than the outside of the box, but I just cut it so that I would be able to fold down the sides. So I'm going to just let you watch and see what I did here, dolls. You know I didn't do any precise measuring, but I just estimated basically how much I would need to fold down. And I just folded the corners really, really sharp so that they would bend easily. And then I folded them in again. So again, where they would cover up the side of the box. And as always, I do my dry fit, try fit to make sure everything is where it's supposed to be before I begin to add my glue. And I used a little bit of the fabric tack glue, adding it on the inside flap of both sides of the box lid. And here I am trying out my new little paper lid on top of the box. And it worked out just as well as the ones made with cardstock. Now, dolls, I did feel like I needed a couple other boxes, so I kind of wanted to make a few what looked like shirt boxes. Now, I would consider it best practice to actually make your boxes specifically for whatever you want to put in the box. Now, you can make what you call general sizes or whatever like that, but in this instance, I actually used the folded shirts and things that I made in a previous video. I will leave a link in the description, but I used those already made shirts to determine how big these boxes needed to be. Now, I'm only going to make a couple of them just to show you the technique. Now, this technique can be used for any size or shape box with any depth, and it would be a best practice also to create a template so you can make future boxes the same way. Now, dolls, in this instance, I'm just using regular old-fashioned index cards. It's a great weight, it folds easily, and the lines really help you stay on track. Now, I'm just trimming off the wallpaper to make sure I don't have uneven stripes. Now, the key thing to making these types of boxes, the shirt box style, is to make one half of the box slightly smaller so that when you put the lid on, the bottom part of the box is inside the lid, if you know what I mean. So you'll be making two of these, just one should be slightly smaller. Now definitely take advantage of the lines on the index card. Now, dolls, I've used this technique for a long time. I do have graph paper in these shapes, but I've done it so many times, I'm just kind of freehanding it, winging it. So while you're learning, definitely take advantage of the lines, and it might be a great idea to just go ahead and make you a template with some graph paper. And I want you to pay attention that as I cut my index card, I'm cutting it short. I'm not going all the way across. I'm just making a little nip so I'll have little tabs on the side. Now here I'm making the other half and I'm doing the exact same thing, lining it up, lining my paper up. Now, dolls, if you had bigger pieces of paper or pieces of paper that were not scraps, you could just cover the index card with the full area and then cut it out. But I'm doing it this way because I'm working with scraps. Now, dolls, I want you to pay attention here. I made a mistake on this particular lid. I actually cut the corner tabs out, but I'm going to show you how to actually quick fix that so that you don't waste a box lid or bottom. So if you look really closely here inside the box, I just put small pieces of paper in the shape of the tabs and just glued them on the wrong side so that you don't see the stripe. Just tuck them in the corner and keep going. Now here's an image of what it looks like when the tabs are still on. You add the glue and you press them together the same way and let them dry. Now, if you need to use a pointed tool or the edge or your scissors to kind of tuck them in, definitely do that to make sure you don't have difficulty fitting your base or the lid on top. And I would say wait to tuck the corners after the glue sets up a little bit so you don't break the seam. And there you go, a box with a lid. And it fits nice and neat. It doesn't fall apart, and when you pull it, it fits really good. Now be careful at this stage because sometimes your glue can still be a little bit tacky and you don't want your lid and the bottom to get stuck together. So give them an opportunity to dry. So while I was waiting for them to dry, I went on to cut out my little logos, which are just the pattern repeats from some wallpaper I had left over. It's actually the wallpaper left over from the original dollhouse bathroom and from my assistant Violet's bedroom. So dolls, this is my way of making little gift boxes and shirt boxes for my little sewing room, or if you were doing a store, this is my workaround to avoid having to print labels and things like that. And at this point, I found a little braided trim and some lace and some little pieces of the border from the wallpaper. And I just added some little extra details to make the little boxes truly look like old Victorian gift boxes, the type of boxes that you would keep as a keepsake. I thought they really turned out nice. If you enjoyed this video today, definitely let me know in the comments. Also, like, share, and subscribe. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next episode of Little Gretchen's Workshop. Bye bye now, dolls.